So what we got here is Rime of the Ancient Mariner, Part 2, Mr. Franzen's pontifications about what's going on after you've already read the poem, and then we can go back and talk about things you might have missed. Okay, here we go. Let's do this thing. The sun now rose up on the right, and out of the sea came he, still hid in the mist, and on the left went down into the sea. So if the sun is now on your right, and then it goes down on the left, you're heading north at this point. So they're out of the sea, out of the frozen land, but they still have this mist hanging around, which does become a problem. Later on, here in just a second. And in the good south wind still blew behind, so again, they're heading north. But no sweet bird did follow, nor any day for food or play came to the mariner's hollow, because he shot that bird with a crossbow, so he can't actually come back. Okay. And then so the bird doesn't come back because he ended up killing it with a crossbow. And he feels a little bad about it. He says, I've done a hellish thing, and it would work 'em woe. Pointing out here that if you repeat a beginning sound of a word, www, that's called alliteration, if you didn't remember that. And they say, for all a bird, I had killed the bird that made the breeze to blow. So we get some more alliteration, just with a different... just a different letter, breeze and blow. Ah, wretch, they said, the bird to slay that made the breeze to blow. Let's get a couple for it here in a little bit. Let's scroll down a little. Nor dim nor red like God's own head, the glorious sun up wrist. That's really nice because the sun's now coming up. Then all averred I had killed the bird that brought the fog and mist. 'Twas right, they said, such birds to slay that bring the fog and mist. So this is going to kind of haunt them because now the sailors on the ship are saying 'twas right, such birds to slay that brought the fog and mist. And so they're happy about the bird being gone. And the fair breeze blew, the white foam flew, the furrow followed free. We were the first, notice all those F's, that ever burst into that silent sea. Shh. It sounds quiet too, right? All right. We do have some internal rhyme because it's not on the end of the line. This stuff here, free and sea, that's on the end of the line, so that's end rhyme. But here we also have some more internal rhyme. He does this on occasion where he has internal rhyme on the first line and third line, and then end rhyme on the second and fourth line. All right, so the breeze was blowing, everything was going gung-ho, everything was awesome, and then all of a sudden, down dropped the breeze. The sails dropped down. I like how this one is like repeated backwards. Drop down, drop, sorry, down drop, drop down. I like that. 'Twas sad as sad could be, and we did speak only to break the silence of the sea. So he's actually repeating this part again down here. But here, about the speaking, you have to imagine yourself on a ship in the middle of the ocean. There's absolutely no movement because there's no wind. There are no birds. The only thing is you, the ocean, the sky, and the sun, and your boat, and everybody around you. The only thing there to make any noise is you. Everything else is complete silence. And so they did speak to break the silence of the sea, because that much silence can drive you insane. Insane! Okay, now, it starts to get really crazy with the imagery. For example, all in a hot and copper sky. So everything's really hot, but now the sky is copper in color, which is weird. Not blue anymore, it's copper. And a bloody sun at noon, straight above your head, no bigger than the moon. And so you have this weird image of a copper sky with a bloody moon, and it's completely silent. And then day after day Day after day, we stuck, nor breath nor motion, as idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. So just to get across the idea of the boredom, he just repeats this day after day, day after day. It's the same thing. Silence, ocean, the boat, hot, nothing to do. And their lives are just as if they were living in a painting. It wouldn't be any difference. As idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. I like that image. And here, the most famous stanza of the entire play. This one gets repeated and parodied all the time, even in our current world. Water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink. Water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. Just to point out, boards, talking about the planks, they're shrinking. It's because they're drying out. If wood gets dry, it shrinks. And if you get it wet, it will expand. It's kind of like a sponge. Dries out, shrinks. Gets wet, expands. The boards did shrink, so it's hot. The boards are shrinking. Water, water everywhere, nor any drop to drink. They're on an ocean. You can't drink ocean water because it's salty. If you drink the salt water, it actually makes you more dehydrated. So the irony is they're on an ocean, surrounded by water, but they're dying of dehydration. It's crazy, right? Crazy. The very deep did rot. Notice they're like starting to see things here, besides the copper sky with the blood red moon. The very deep did rot. Deep, deep. O Christ, that ever this should be. Yea, slimy things did crawl with legs upon the slimy sea. So now they're seeing these slimy creatures crawling about on the ocean. And then about and bout and reel and rout, the death fires danced at night. The water, like a witch's oil, burned. It's like blue and green and blue and white. So at night, it's like the water is on fire like oil. And there's these creepy, crawly creatures. And then some in dreams assured were of the spirit that plagued us so. So some, meaning some of the crew members, in their dreams, were having a dream of this spirit, the spirit that plagues them, that's 9 fathom deep. Fathom is a measurement of depth in the ocean. It's about 6 feet. 6 times 9, 54 feet. So they're saying down about 54 feet. There's some sort of spirit that's plaguing them that had followed us from the land of mist and snow. This is the spirit of mist and snow. Okay, this is hearkening back to like an old tradition where these gods, these individual like spirits that have a lot of power over humans. And much in like Greek and Roman times, those spirits had individual powers over certain areas, and all those spirits also sometimes would have some sort of messenger that could bring us to the real world, and they would travel between the real world and the spirit world. This particular messenger might be the albatross. And so again, you don't kill the spirit's animal that's there to help you. And then every tongue through utter drought was withered at the root. We could not speak more than if we had been choked with soot. So now they're so dehydrated to the point where they can't even talk. Like they want to talk, but their mouth is so dry that you just can't, because you need some sort of moisture there. And it says, "Ah, well a day, what evil looks I had from old and young. Instead of the cross, the albatross about my neck was hung." So instead of like saying, "This is all your fault," because they couldn't say anything, they just gave him an evil look. All of them. Giving him the death stare. And then to show the physicality of like, this is your fault, like this is your burden to bear, they put the albatross around his neck as a metaphor for the burdens to bear. If you've never heard that before, you will now, and you will start hearing it a lot of other places. That idea of an albatross around your neck gets repeated a lot in today's world. Not a ton, not as much as like the water, water everywhere, but it's out there. Now part 3 will continue in a different video.